Pier Masters
Hey
Fishing
folks, welcome to
Classes
Pier
Natural
Masters Fishing
Order.
Classes. I'm your host, Benny. I want to talk about what's going on in the environment, from all of the seaweed that's here in Florida to the natural course of what takes place in that seaweed to the mega fish kill in Texas. As far as the fish kill is concerned, I say there's definitely something funny about it. It's not right. And the reason I would say that, you have a massive fish kill. This is based off the information that I've been given so far. You have a massive fish kill in Texas. My first thought when I heard of it was it had something to do with seaweed. I looked it up, looked at the video. I don't see too much seaweed, or I don't see mass quantity of seaweed that just, deprive the ocean of oxygen. Naturally, with that much seaweed, it's not that it blocked out the sun and you can't breathe. With that amount of seaweed, if that was the case, you would have the seaweed that starts to break down, and then that's going to absorb a lot of oxygen. The same as when we create compost piles and we have a lot of wood mulch in it. The wood mulch absorbs a lot of the nitrogen, which makes everything unbalanced. So the same thing when you have deterioration of stuff like that in the ocean, or even in fresh water. That's what happens a lot of time. But that's not the case. Something has taken place in Texas that we're not hearing about. And I'm not talking conspiracy, but I'm just talking present reality. And everything that I do, what I teach in life, I always teach to follow the natural order of things. So if it was an issue of seagrass or whatever of that nature, and it's starting to biodegrade, yes, that would absorb oxygen. But given that area, given what I'm seeing, there's no reason for that. Let me take you back just a little way. Not too long ago, a few years back, we had red tide here on the East Coast. That does not happen a lot. Many of my friends and I have gone to the West Coast and we fish, I can't even count the days during red tide. We'll call, see what's going on. Hey Todd, what's happening? Yo, Vinny, you got to be over here, man. It's absolutely crazy. Fish just jumping out of the water. Okay, cool. We'll go over to the West Coast the very next day. Red tide came throughout the night. Boom, there's dead fish, Goliath grouper, and everything you can think of. Dolphin, you name it, sharks, all along the shoreline dead. Was it to the degree of what you see in Texas? No, it was not. But there was definitely a fish kill. Now, with that being said, the red tide that we had reported here in Florida, I went to Deerfield Pier, which is my favorite spot to fish because it's local. I went to Deerfield Pier. The moment I got into the parking lot and I got out of my car, my eyes are burning, my throat is scratchy, and it's kind of hard to breathe. I didn't know what was going on. Yes, I heard about red tide and so forth. I'm like, whatever. So with that being said, I walk over to the bait shop and my eyes are burning hardcore. I endured it, trying to figure out what's going on. They had the bait shop window closed so that they wouldn't be exposed to it as much. And paid my money and went through. Once I got out at least 100 yards past the shoreline, I didn't have any issues. And I went ahead and fished for the whole day. Now, as far as fish kill is concerned, I only seen maybe 4 or 5 fish that were dead on the East Coast, looking along the beach. I've seen, I think, 2 parrotfish. I've seen a goatfish, if you know what that is. I've seen a doctorfish, and then some other, I'm not sure what it was, but definitely tropical. That's the only thing I've seen dead as far as the red tide. Now, here's the thing. I'm 53. So, somewhere in my life, I've done stupid stuff as far as mixing chemicals. And we all know, for the most part, for those who are older, you don't mix bleach with other things, or you're going to get what we have been called or been told mustard gas. You can't breathe. You cannot function in the bathroom when you're trying to clean it when you got bleach mixed with other things. So it's going to burn your eyes, irritate your throat, the whole 9 yards. You cannot breathe. So this is what I experienced when I got to Deerfield Pier in the parking lot. Now, I fished the whole day. I caught fish. It was okay as far as that's concerned. But once I finished fishing for the day, I walked back through the bait shop, through the parking lot. Just as before, I had issues red eyes, burning throat, hard to breathe, the whole 9 yards, until I completely left the beach. Now, I fished red tide many years on the west coast of Florida. Naples, Fort Myers, Captiva, Sanibel Island, fish all those places up and down. Red tide is in full effect, dead fish everywhere. At no point did I choke or my eyes were burning red. None of that stuff that took place. So that tells me, just like the mustard gas, the stuff that we mixed up, and I'm probably calling it wrong, just like the gas of bleach that's too strong for us to breathe in, I couldn't breathe. So that tells me that something man-made has taken place. And here's the thing. It went all the way down the beach. Now, from the Palm Beaches is where it started. So I'm going to say the water as it came out of the inlet from the Palm Beaches made its way down the shoreline, because the natural flow of water in Florida is always to the south. So as it flowed down, whatever the chemical was in the water, this is where we had the issues. Okay, with that being said, to go on to the next topic, the state of Florida has put out a health advisory warning on the basis of the seaweed. We've heard much about the seaweed that has taken place all over the place. Big, large mats the size of the United States gonna hit Florida. We've been saying it. They got in the Gulf of Mexico. It's all over the Keys. We're getting on this side of Florida, up and down the coast. And it's kind of messing up everything. So the latest warning was about a flesh-eating bacteria. Now, mind you, that sounds very crazy. But here's the thing. It's natural. It's a natural thing to take place, because when you have the seaweed and the crabs and the shrimp and all that stuff there, they will break down. Even the vegetation will break down, and it's a natural process because of the actual natural bacteria that breaks that stuff down. Now you take the very same seagrass or even grass in general and put it into your freshwater, or you can take a whole fish that you've cleaned the whole 9 yards and throw it into the freshwater lake. Now, this is just my observation for all the years of teaching classes and fishing, being a commercial fisherman, and just, being around. I've seen things thrown into freshwater lakes, stayed there for weeks and weeks, and not break down. Yes, the flesh turned to a gel form almost, but it didn't actually break down. It still has the full form. With that being said, that lets me know all of the bacteria or enzymes that you would find in salt water that will break down all of that material is not in freshwater. They're not there. So you'll never hear anyone say anything about flesh-eating bacteria in freshwater lakes. You may hear other things, or you may not even hear about it at all. But as far as the ocean's concerned, when it comes to this influx of seaweed and dead fish and all the stuff there, and even if we had red tide, naturally the bacteria that we're speaking of will begin to break down the flesh of everything that's there, as long as it's organic. So it's natural for that to take place. Personally, I would say stay out of the water, because if you got scratches, scrapes, anything, anywhere, any opening that it can get in through your pores and your skin, even if you don't have opening, we absorb everything through our pores. That's where we're created. So if you know for a fact that that's going on, stay out of the water, stay out of the seaweed. Not to make anyone scared, just to give you an idea. But that part is natural. Now, as far as the seaweed, hey, we didn't create it. Looks like we have something to do with it. But somewhere in there, we need to do better as human beings. We're really doing a great job of just destroying the ecosystem. Just a little something for you to chew on. Pure Masters Fishing Classes. We make dreams come true. Peace out.